Hey everybody, it's Greg LaBeouf. Welcome to another episode of Awaken to Protect Our Within. And today, listen, I got to just talk about something that's, it drives me crazy. Silent suppression sucks.
So the big question was this: what do good people do when a society's laws and institutions fail to keep them safe from aggression and violence? How do you get through a growing number of angry, hateful, aggressive people and still remain physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and positive? That was the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Greg LaBeouf, and welcome to Awaken the Protector Within.
Okay, listen, this has got me bothered. Silent suppression sucks. Here's a concept. When it comes to confrontation, when it comes to dealing with, aggression and bullying and violence or trauma in our lives, silence and suppression of those emotions sucks. It's toxic to us. You cannot see what is impressed or repressed will eventually get expressed, but it'll always get expressed in a way that does not serve you, right? Do we understand that? You see, when you silently suppress or repress negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative feelings, all of that stuff, what is impressed will eventually get expressed. And when you're bottling it up like that, when you're staying silent about it and you're bottling it up, it'll find a trigger, and that trigger will never be in a place that serves you. Okay, so here's the thing. What got me on this is, again, there's people that reach out to me, and it's not the people directly that are suffering from the trauma. It's the people around them that love them and support them. And they say, listen, I've experienced, they've experienced this traumatic event, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They're trying to pretend that there's nothing wrong. They're silently suppressing, and it is sucking the life out of them. And not just them, it is sucking the life out of the people around them. We all go through shit. Here's the thing. Why do we silently suppress? We do it because we don't want to be judged. We do it because we think there's something wrong with us. We do it because we think that we're different than everybody else. I've said this many times. This is one of my core messages when it comes to aggression or violence or bullying. But when it comes to anything that is toxic and stressful and hard for, especially when it's involving other human beings, the relationships, the connections, the communication, on whatever level, right? It affects us. It is the number one fear. We've got to understand this. We are wired to be social. We are wired because that is how we survived. If you were part of a tribe, the tribe survived, the individuals perished. It's wired into us to need acceptance, even from complete ass strangers. It's the weirdest thing, right? We want this acceptance from people, but here's the thing. When we don't get it, or when we are debased or tormented, or we experience, conflict on whatever level, it bothers us, but we silently suppress because we're afraid of being judged. I mean, you look at social media now and everything else, right? You see the best 10 minutes of every single person's day, and we just feel like there's this socialized, intellectualized idea that we shouldn't share, because if you share, you're complaining, or if you share, you're breaking the illusion that you have this perfect life, whatever it is. Silent suppression sucks. So what do we have to do? You don't have to, and here's the thing, you don't have to walk around complaining. What you need to do, though, is you need to have a group of people. You need to have your tribe where you express in a healthy way. Because let's go into the next part of this. This should actually and will become a podcast on its own, but here's the thing. Silent suppression sucks. You can't do it. You can't avoid it. You can't say, I don't want to talk about it. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. I think Tony Robbins is the one that says, you stand in your garden and say, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. It doesn't make it true. You got to see it for what it is. That is the only way that we can ever become truly ready or truly real, is to see it for what it is. So silent suppression sucks, but here's the other side of it. What most people do, if they're not silently suppressing and killing themselves from the inside out, then what they're doing is they're reacting. They are emotionally engaged. They're sucked in to their negativity. And now they have this reaction. Reaction isn't any better for us. So you can't silently suppress, and you don't want to get emotionally sucked in and engaged and have this visceral, unhealthy, toxic reaction, because that's just as destructive for you as it is for the people around you. What we need to do is we need to understand actually how to, wait for it, regulate our responses. Which means what? We actually have to learn to regulate our thoughts, to regulate our emotions. That's processing. That's processing. That is not and should not be a foreign concept to us, but it is. It's like we all operate off the sensory faculties, how we perceive the world. Our sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, all of that, the sensory faculties. But there are higher faculties of the mind. And it is the higher faculties that we have to access. So either people are silently suppressing and living in toxic, corrosive, and septic pain, mental, emotional pain, and they're wearing the mask of professionalism. Okay, it's killing us. Or they are reacting and they are becoming emotionally engaged, emotionally enraged, and they're just expressing all over the place. And often when people do that, that is through bullying, aggression, tormenting. Why? See, they become under the influence themselves. So we have, and you think it's just these two extremes, but in the middle are these concepts that are really pretty basic and easy to do, but we don't understand them. And that is just how to regulate our response. Most of that starts from giving yourself permission and knowing it's okay to feel how you're feeling. That's it. To have experienced something and go, wow, that messed me up. Do you know how liberating that is to say, yeah, that messed me up? You might find 10 other people that said, I experienced the same thing. That didn't bother me at all. But that's okay. Instead of seeing judgment in that, you just go, that's okay. Because there's other things that I've experienced that messed you up. Permission to just go, listen. First is acknowledge what it is. Don't silently suffer. And don't just give in to the visceral reactions and get sucked into all of that stuff. Just learn to regulate our response. And a huge part of that starts by just giving ourselves permission, saying, listen, this bothered me. And you know what? It's okay. It's normal. It might not affect everybody the same way, but there's lots of other people out there that feel just the same way I did. There's lots of other people that have gone through this. And I'll get through this. Just so much starts from knowing that we're not different, to knowing that we're not broken. There's not something wrong with us. Don't sit there and silently suppress and suffer. That sucks. And don't all of a sudden just have this visceral reaction and dive into all of that toxicity. Just take a second, breathe, know that it's all normal. All of it, the good, the bad, all of it is normal. You're okay. And begin to learn to process and regulate your response. And that way, you are going to allow what has been impressed, whatever toxic event has been impressed on you, or whatever toxic feelings, whatever's caused it, you will then begin to actually process. Now remember, think of the word process. A process. It takes some time. Yes, you'll have moments where you will have a stronger reaction and you will feel yourself giving in to the reaction, getting emotionally sucked in and engaged. But guess what? Very quickly, the higher faculties of the mind will take over. You will regulate that response and you will begin to process and express in a way that serves you and those around you. That's what we're looking for, right? Otherwise, or opposed to that, most people take it in and they just suppress it all and pretend nothing's wrong. Okay, listen, that's my little rant for today. There's nothing wrong with any of us and the things that we experience. It is only our interpretation of those things and what they mean to us. And for most of us, it's like we've got two options. One, you put on the mask of professionalism, you put on that fake face to the rest of the world, and you silently suppress, and you hide it. Or you gain some sort of significance for those people that get sucked in, that emotionally get enraged, and they express in a way that's toxic, and they gain something from that. But none of that is serving any of us. It is a simple process of learning to regulate our response. Yes, we don't have to be perfect. We're not going to all have great days. Forget about the bad days. Take pride in the good days. But the idea is that what are we trying to do? We are trying to process. That's what we want to do. We want to learn to regulate our response. We want to learn to process. That is where we are going to find the balance. That is where we're going to find the physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being. All right, everybody, that's my rant for today. Stop, please. I beg you, stop silently suffering. It sucks. Okay, you're normal. It's fine. Find your tribe. Connect with people And don't worry about being judged. Let them know how you feel. Explain it, express it. Pain shared is pain divided. All right, everybody, we're going to end it there. All right, stay safe, stay ready. Remember, off the X, it's one step away. Don't silently suffer. It's one step away, and you start feeling the results instantaneously, because it's not about the destination, but you begin to progress. You begin to move off the X, move away from the pain and the suffering and the trauma. Don't stay stuck in it. All right, everybody, that's it. Stay safe.
Want to awaken your protector within? If so, then head to awakentheprotectorwithin.ca and get your free Off the X training today.